I know you use EDI with your suppliers, and some like we work with you on the AP process as well. So I understand you've got some suppliers on EDI that you're doing an EDI AP process, but you also have a bunch of suppliers that are just sending you, let's say, emailed order acknowledgements and emailed invoices. How are you using Conexiom in that environment? And do you see any conflict between those channels?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say we see a conflict. I would, our team, to be quite honest, would prefer to use Conexiom versus the EDI standpoint with the partnership with Epicor. So we were looking at it, and we had such great value on the order side. We said, man, this would be great if we could do it on the vendor side. And boy, doing EDI with your top 10 vendors it's a process. There's a lot of mapping going back and forth. Does this flow? Does that flow? And when you guys offered us the AP automation, we were like, absolutely jumped on it, took care of it because it just simplified that process. We started out when we looked at this with 40 vendors that we didn't have on EDI. We have now increased that just recently in 2020. And we're going to move that to 100 vendors where we can just get these APs in. And again, Epicor and P21 has a process for bringing in invoices, doing them plus or minus 10, a check to say, hey, can these flow all the way through as long as the product's been received? It has been a huge time saver for us. Our AP group is ecstatic, and they look to see, is there any any vendor that's got high volume that's sending us email invoice that we can move to this process. Our vendors don't know we're doing it because it's not important to them. We tell them, please make sure you send us an email. It comes into our AP inbox. We set up some business rules. It sends it out to Conexiom, gets processed, and we bring it in. Huge time savings from our standpoint to keep the number of clerks that we need to have down to a minimum and just again, do more with less. And I would say, as we all kind of transitioned to home during this last year from COVID, we had some people reach out, how do you guys do it? How are you using automation? And automation has gotten a big boost because of COVID and people not being in the office and moving more towards a digital transformation of receiving invoices electronically. Great. How do we take it to the next step of taking those electronic invoices and getting them into our systems? We were already doing it, and we certainly, like I said, just recently increased the number during COVID covered more vendors for us. We're always looking at our vendors, if they're a top vendor, if they send a lot, if we're buying a lot of lines to automate. Absolutely, whether it's EDI or Conexiom. Again, I would say our group and my focus is, hey, Conexiom is a lot easier than doing EDI. Let's bring it in. It kind of comes in that same process, but the mapping, the going back and forth, did it get delivered? That process is very simple and easy to turn over just to our AP clerks to make those decisions as to who belongs on Conexiom and how do we leverage it.